And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Every year I'm very excited about the Days of Wonder release because unlike other companies, they put a lot of effort into each and every one, so much effort that they only produce a couple games a year, but those games are usually amazing releases. Ticket to Ride, Memoir 44, Coliseum, just great games. The game they came out with this year is Cargo Noir, and while I was very excited about it, I have to say that I'm not quite, well, alright, let's not get ahead of ourselves. The game itself, fantastic production. Days of Wonder always does a tremendously good job on all their games, and the gameplay itself, simple and easy to learn. Well, I have more opinions than that, but we'll get to them at the end. For now, let's take a look at this spectacular production, as always. One of the things about Cargo Noir, which is great, is the components. The components are fantastic. But one thing I cannot figure out is why you cannot fit them back in the box. If you see here, there's a nice little box here with a spot for the cards, a spot for the coins, a spot for the ship, a spot for all the things. And then when you have this bag full of tokens, it does not, you cannot place it flat enough unless you spend a long time flattening out the tokens completely to put the lid back on. Not a big deal, but just seems kind of odd. The board is set up, it's kind of in sections here, and that's because some of the sections, it will tell you really small down the corner, like this one says 4 to 5 players. If you have less than 4 to 5 players, you'll use the other side, which has no tokens on top of it. So this gives you a way to set up variable boards, and it works pretty well. It looks more interesting than it is. It looks like there's more spots to, wow, variety. Not really, it's just a way to set it up for 2 to 5 players. So you're going to set the board up, and you have different ports here that you can go to, and these ports, different goods are placed on them. Illegal goods like gold, art, alcohol, weapons, cars, cigars, uranium, etc. Each player is going to place in front of them one of these boards where it shows that you can keep up to 6 goods in front of you. Players are also given 3 ships, and the ships are pretty nice quality. They're rubber and fun to handle, and then you also get a stack of coins, and as usual, Days of Wonder does a fantastic job with their coins, nice plastic coins, easy to put out on the board. One player is given a start token. That player is going to be the start player for the whole game. It doesn't really matter. It's just a way of measuring whenever it's the start player's turn to show what round the game is in, because when it gets to the end of a certain round, then the game is over. On a player's turn, they have 3 things that they are doing. I'm going to start with the third thing first, because that's what you'll do. That's the main part of your turn, and that's just putting your ships out. You can put your ships here at the casino. You can put your ships up here at the black market port, or you can send your ships out to any of these other ports. When you do so, you put them on top of a pile of coins. It could be 1 coin, it could be 3 coins, whatever you want to basically you're bidding for that area. At the beginning of your turn, you'll take all your ships back that you've placed out on the board on previous turns. For each ship that you've placed here, you will get 2 coins. So that's a way to get more coins at it. For each ship that you place here, you can trade one of your goods that's in front of you for any one of the goods that's up here, or you can randomly take a good from the bag. And I would say that in the games I've played, those things are done fairly equally. If you are the only ship in a port at the beginning of your turn, then you'll take all the goods and add them to your sheet in front of you. Now realize you only have 6, so if you get more than 6, you'll have to discard down at the end of your turn. However, if there is another player who put a higher number here, let's say this jerk player blue put 2 coins there, and I've only put 1. Here are my options. I can either take my coin and my ship back and I'm done, or if I want, I can add coins and basically outbid him. But I can only take the items at the beginning of my turn, and only if I have more coins than every other player in front of me. So after you've done that, after you've taken your ships back and gotten your things, then you are allowed to spend cards or spend goods that you've gotten to buy victory point cards. You can spend cards according to this chart here. If you notice here, these are different types of goods, and these are the goods that are the same. So if I have 1 good, it's worth 1. If I have 2 different goods, they're worth 3. If I have 2 of the same, they're worth 4. So if I have 9 different goods, it's worth 45. If I have 9 of the same, it's worth 81. You say, all right, so you can trade those in. You say, how do you get 9 of the same? Well, when you buy the different goods, you can spend money. For example, here I can buy the Villa. It costs me $15 worth of goods. You get no change, by the way. And at the end of the game, it's worth 15. But you can buy some special cards. For example, you can buy the cargo ship here. It's only worth 5 points, but it lets you have another ship. So instead of having 3 ships, you have 4. Or if you buy more cargo ships, you can have 5 or 6 that you can send out on the board. You can also buy a warehouse. A warehouse allows you to keep 2 more goods. So you buy a couple warehouse, and you can only buy 2 of these at the most, but that still allows you to have more goods to get that 9 of a kind. And the other special thing you can buy is a syndicate. Whenever someone basically outbids you and you give up, then you get 2 coins. So you might let people outbid you just to get more coins with the syndicate. All the rest of the cards are simply pay points to get points, and some of the bigger ones, like for example, here's the biggest card in the game, you can pay 81 for this card and it's worth 90 points at the end of the game. At the end of the game, you add up all your points, and whoever has most points wins. If there's a tie, whoever's bought the most expensive card wins the game. So if it ends the game and my best card is the bank and your best card is the cronies, then I'm going to win because mine cost more than yours. And that's the game in a nutshell. So why am I not a bigger fan of this game? I mean, it plays well. It does what Days of Wonder intended it to do, I'm sure, where you're basically, it's a worker placement game. You're putting out ships to get different things. It's very easy. It's very simple. And I think that my biggest problem with this game is the theme disconnect. It's called Cargo Noir. You're smuggling goods. It doesn't feel like smuggling goods at all. I mean, you could replace this with hundreds of other themes, and you wouldn't tell the difference, I think, at all. And you should be able to. It's basically, for me, it's a really slow auction. I bid 2, your turn. Blah, 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 blah. I bid 3, my turn. Blah, 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 blah. I bid 4. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I give up. Ha ha, I won. Well, that took 4 turns to do. Other people say that it's a form of push your luck. And, I mean, I can see that in a sense. The components are super high quality. And this game may have an audience where there's people who you teach this to, and they're going to think, oh, wow, this is really simple. It's really fun. And so I'll give them that. I mean, there's going to be people who enjoy the game. But for me, it just felt like it could be so much more. Why didn't you're getting goods, getting them into sets, trading them for victory point cards. That's really all there is. And to me, that's just boring. There should be something more. If players had special abilities, there's 3 cards that give special abilities, why don't all the cards give that, you know? The rest of them are just victory points, and it feels so been there, done that. I'm not saying that there's another game that duplicates this, but I'm saying that I don't see why I would want this in my collection when it doesn't do anything unique. And especially when it offered up the promise of such a cool theme. Oh, smuggling goods. Oh, wow, what a neat thing to do. You know, how does this game feel like smuggling? Well, you know what? It doesn't. So I'm sure there's a target audience out there for this game. People who are first learning to play worker placement games and such. But for me, it just doesn't cut the mustard.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.